aka Diz, and this is The Force Always.
Welcome to the Star Wars show. Let's get on with the Star Wars news. Now, later on in the show, we'll have a WandaVision review by a Star Wars fan. That's me, a Star Wars fan. WandaVision, that's on Disney Plus, just released very short time ago. You can get it now. There's 2 episodes. WandaVision, it's a Marvel production. It's something different for a Star Wars fan to go into. There's a lot of Star Wars Marvel fans, but for me, I'm a Star Wars fan, more sometimes a Marvel fan. But yes, there will be a review in the review section later on in the show. Speaking of which, that did make the news this week. Disney Plus has now released a second live action series that's brand new on their network. It's Marvel. It's called WandaVision. Check it out now. It should be released every Friday for the next coming weeks, whatever it is. And speaking of Disney Plus, but Star Wars related, you can also check season 2, the making of or behind the scenes. It's called The Gallery. They did one last year. They've done it again for season 2 for The Mandalorian. It comes off sort of like a Empire of Dreams sort of documentary, if you know that. That's of the original trilogy, Empire of Dreams. Fantastic documentary. Highly recommend that. You sort of get to know the depth of the against the odds that George Lucas and Star Wars had back in the 70s and 80s. But anyway, that's another thing. So The Gallery is basically sort of a title for their making ofs or behind the scenes for Disney Plus TV series. And for this one, it was the season 2, pretty much the entire season as one episode. Whether they're going to do other episodes, I'm unsure, but it's now, on Disney Plus. Check that one out. That's some of the Star Wars news. To more Star Wars news, if you like action figures, and I love the action figures, but I actually don't have any hot toys. But anyway, hot toys, if you're ever going to get a hot toy, get it through Sideshow. They're amazing. Everything they have is amazing. Their latest figure is Qui-Gon Jinn. Look at the detail in this. It's amazing. It's truly remarkable. Anyway, so you can get that through Sideshow. Is available this week. Speaking of Qui-Gon, or Liam Neeson, the actor who plays Qui-Gon Jinn, he's still here in Melbourne, Australia, shooting the movie Blacklight. It should be coming to wrap sometime in February. So he's still here for the movie Blacklight, probably some sort of action drama type of thing. I don't know much about it, but I know he's here in Melbourne, Australia, in which he would have experienced some crazy summer. We are in the middle of summer right now, and we are still wearing jackets. Just to let you know, it's very unusual for Melbourne. We are a 4 seasons type city, but this particular summer is quite intense. Anyway, so that's the Star Wars news. Without rambling on about it, something else for this time around, let's get into the views. Views is my story ideas about anything to do with Star Wars. Without giving too much away about my review, which is of WandaVision, the new Marvel live action series for Disney Plus. There's a particular style of way they presented this particular show, and basically it's a contrast to what we know Marvel. Should Star Wars do this? Would it be a good thing to do? Look, I don't mind, and this is a story idea, can you believe? The story is to not get off complete track. Personally, you need 3 elements of Star Wars to really make it a success. It needs to have an element of sci-fi. Technically, it's not sci-fi Star Wars. I know this. George Lucas knows this. The general population thinks it's sci-fi, but let's just say sci-fi for the hell of saying sci-fi, or space. It needs that. It needs the element of epic, and it needs the element of good versus bad. Those 3 elements in a Star Wars film whatever you do with it needs to be there. So that is the story idea. Those three elements is what really carries a Star Wars film. Going abstract and creative, over creative or under creative or whatever you want to think of it as is okay, but it just needs those points as foundation in telling the story. That to me is why I sort of like The Last Jedi. A lot of people don't out there, but I think it's, the one thing they did in that film that I do like was the originality, but unfortunately with some of the surprises they gave us was a little bit over the top. But anyway, without getting rambling on about that, that's my story idea, is giving those three components, which is the good versus bad, which is the epic, which is the space sort of feel in a Star Wars storyline, even if you're going to be very abstract and creative in its presentation. Anyway, that's my views for this time around. Let's get into the reviews. Reviews this time around is of the new Disney Plus Marvel TV live action series. It's of WandaVision. WandaVision, just put it in a basic sense, they were seen in Endgame, Avengers Endgame, and Infinity War, and I think other things. And they, so it's Wanda and Vision. These two, they were like a couple type thing. Anyway, straight off the bat, there's 2 episodes. The first episode gets, can you believe it, 1 out of 10 for myself. And the second episode, just to get right into it, gets 1 out of 10. Now, let me explain before you take it to the next level. I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it, even though my score sort of reflects that. It just was not, it was very creative and really well done in its sort of the style of storytelling it was, without giving too much away. It was sort of a sitcom sort of feel, more like a 40s or 50s, possibly 60s sort of feel. Second episode was, a next decade up, but they were both in a similar sort of time period. It just had no sense of heroicness, and I think with Marvel, you need a sense of being, following the hero, the superheroes, and it really just explained sort of elements of the character or characters in a really fancy sort of way, which I thought it was, entertaining in itself, and that's where the 1 came from. It was entertaining, but it just did not suit the Marvel storytelling. It was just like, it'd be like saying, can I buy a chocolate bar, but you get a Brussels sprout? You want a chocolate bar, not a Brussels sprout. I like and support abstract, creative storytelling. Things like the Spider-Verse was, to me, well done. But when you go off track and not include the elements of certain, stories like the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the MCU, whatever you want to call it, it needs a sense of heroicness, and I think personally, when you look at the presentation of these 2 episodes, in my opinion, it's a bit of a cop-out, the way they sort of did these episodes, because for Disney Plus, this was a pretty low-budgeted way of presenting this. They would have paid a bit for the actors, a bit for the editing and all this and the set design and that, but it's a bit of a cop-out, I thought. It was a pretty easy sort of type of episode. You just had to really nail the style of what they were using well, and they did nail that really well, but I just thought, God, it was frustrating to sort of watch, but at the same time entertaining. It does get a 1 out of 10 for both episodes, 1 out of 10 and 1 out of 10 for the episode 1, episode 2. I'm not going to do these reviews every week for WandaVision. I just thought I'd do this one, just giving you my perspective, what I thought. Again, it's not a bad episode, even though my mark does reflect a bad episode mark, but it's just, it was all about, it just didn't capture what Marvel is about, in my opinion, as a Star Wars fan. Correct me if I'm wrong, but anyway. So that's my reviews for this time around. Let's get into interviews. Interviews is 2 questions where 2Q, where I ask myself 2 questions for you guys out there. So really extending from the reviews, should Star Wars do this type of storytelling in the same type of genre, style, or whatever you want to say, as WandaVision? And I'll say absolutely no. You can't have personally Earth related into Star Wars. It sort of sounds like a good idea. It could work, but when you involve our real life, Earth living life with Star Wars, it becomes a little bit, in a funny way of speaking, far-fetched. That's very, very strange to say with a Star Wars type of movie, as they are far-fetched themselves, but I think it wouldn't really work in a Star Wars film, having Earth-related or even real-life-related type things within, cherry-pick things that are here on Earth, and you can use it in the Star Wars universe, but just don't have Earth or the human-type race, be a part of the whole Star Wars universe. It needs to be pure space fantasy. That's what my opinion is. And I don't think they should follow a real contrasting idea for Star Wars. I think it wouldn't work. So anyway, that was the first question. Now, second question is, how is Star Wars versus Marvel rating since this new TV series for Marvel has come out? I think it's now been reversed. Star Wars has become the new Marvel within the TV series genre. Like, it's really taken, the lead. But Marvel, I'm unsure what other people think, but it's ranking pretty high on Rotten Tomatoes apparently. But I think Marvel is now going to experience a bit of what Star Wars has with this these 2 first episodes for WandaVision. That's is a prediction, is a possibility. I think Star Wars has taken the lead from Marvel when it comes to TV series at the moment. But, we can only wait and see, in the next day or 2, or the next week, how other people think, even yourselves. Speaking of which, so that is my interviews for this time around. If you want to contact me, please, Instagram down here, Twitter is down here, that's my contact details. YouTube, message me if you like. I'm here on a weekly basis. Star Wars news, views, reviews, and interviews. And as I say, until next time, keep rocking.